You might want to avoid this forest because it's apparently home to brain-hungry zombies. Published by Addie Ant in October of 2021. A man appears completely lost in the thick foliage of a forest at night. As he's walking, a terrifying noise is heard. He continues, periodically calling out to whatever awaits him in the dense trees.
Hello? Nang? Oi! Nang, sorry!
That's when he sees this.
Hey!
Something lying in the dirt crawls out, obviously to feast upon his brains. The man turns around and races out of the forest in fear. At one point, he is knocked to the ground. He looks around, whimpering in the darkness, but doesn't see anything around him. Did the zombie give up, or is he on the verge of an ambush? Richard205 Maria posted this video in 2013. The description reads, "An entity ghost got a cat jumping scared. They can make very loud noises. In this video, we can see how what many call a rod shifted into something totally different and was flying at a super fast speed, and it made a noise that was very loud and tried to attack the cat, which heard the noise and jumped scared over the fence." In the video, the cat walks towards a fence, but when something suddenly shoots down at it, the cat jumps up and hops over to escape the frightening noise. When the video is run in slow motion, the YouTuber suggests the entity is a shapeshifter. It seems to fling down to the ground and back up again. Some in the comments section think this thing was a skyfish. Others say it's obviously a bat. What do you think? Could it be a shapeshifter? Regardless, the footage is quite creepy for the fact that something did seriously startle that cat.
Blake Smith's Gaming Blitz has a haunted basement which I analyzed a while ago. Now the ghost has moved upstairs and other family members are starting to take notice. Some people claim to see a face peering between the blinds, but I think it's a reflection.
Do you see that? Please say you see that. See what? It move?
But forget about the window. Tell me what's going on with her backpack. It looks normal at 7 minutes and 3 seconds. Then she looks up, coughs, and suddenly it looks like a face. A face that only becomes clearer and rounder, more defined over the next 15 seconds.
Look at your bag. Do you see the face on your bag in the mirror? Do you see it? I had that on video, Nene! I got it on video!
A final rustling noise somewhere in the room freaks them both out and makes me wonder if they really are being watched by a little ghost girl who's all too near.
A YouTube channel called Proper Good Games is streaming Pokemon when a game goes flying across the room off camera.
I thought when people ate quail it was like eating a fancy.
Oh my god!
They are both looking at each other and not moving at all when it happens, so it could not have been them. Then what she says next makes me feel like this happens all of the time. Do you believe her?
I'm not lying when I say ghost follow me around, right?
And when he goes to pick up the game, he lets out a gasp as the temperature into this part of the room suddenly grows very cold. Again, is this real or just good acting?
It's really cold weather, isn't it?
Shut up. It actually is.
A Reddit user named Never2 shared the following video hoping for some potential answers as to what his mother captured on her driveway security camera late one night. What starts off as a simple piece of home surveillance footage quickly turns into something utterly pulse-pounding, as you will soon see. Wow. So I'm just going to pause it again once it comes on screen here. We see a couple orbs just kind of flying around, but right here, this sort of ghostly presence starts here, disappears again, completely off screen, but is going to come back again right here and just kind of float off into the distance. I think what's especially freaky is that part right here where it's almost like the security camera glitches out and you can see it just a bit better once it does, which is just freaky to me. Kind of goes back and forth there and then is just completely off screen to not be seen again. Just super creepy stuff. The strange figure's appearance on camera alone would be enough for some people to believe this is a paranormal entity, which is very understandable, but then again it could be explained as a camera trick. But as soon as this strange flickering happens off to the left side of the screen, it is certainly hard to pass this off as anything but a ghost. Usually ghost videos are fairly hotly debated, but the comment section on this particular Reddit post seems to be in agreement that something odd was captured on the OP's mom's home surveillance camera. Whatever it is exactly, though, is still uncertain. The passed on must be transported to their final resting place, and whether you realize it or not, sometimes you're traveling with them. Shared on Twitter by Mr. Creepy Posta, this scary video showing an apparent lifeless body in the cargo hold on a plane was originally posted on Reddit. The question is, why is this body not contained within a casket? Many in the comments are freaked out by this footage. Some refer to the 2008 Thai horror film Phobia, a film about the transportation of a princess's lifeless body by plane. This short clip, however, was not taken from the movie, and it's not clear if it's genuine or staged. I think it's real. What do you think? This strange deer keeps repeatedly wandering into the yard of a YouTuber named Free Tickies. It seems to be without a herd, so at first Free Tickies suspects that it could be someone's pet, which is not all that uncommon of an occurrence where he lives in Kentucky. After a minute or so, it becomes evident that this deer is sick with something quite serious. Watch here and you'll see how the deer looks disoriented enough to walk up to another neighbor's house. I have little doubt that it would have wandered straight through the front door if it was open, potentially contaminating the entire inside. The YouTuber says that he called the local wildlife authorities and reported the deer shortly after recording this 2-minute video. I think he keeps a respectful distance for the most part, and appears to be safe from any potential contamination. As for the deer, it sadly had to be put down by government officials after it kept walking onto the nearby Route 8 highway. On 3830 McMahon Road sits a lone white house which at first glance looks rather unassuming, but is actually a source of otherworldly evil, a place so foul that not even 2 separate exorcisms could fully cleanse its walls. Over 800 Native Americans are said to have lost their lives in the surrounding hills against federal forces, many of whom are thought to be buried under the Hinsdale house, fueling its foundations with anger. And that's just the beginning. Sometime in the 1800s, 2 outlaw brothers used this New York property as their sick trophy room. They would go after stagecoaches and left behind no witnesses. The bodies were mostly kept in the attic or left in the basement without a care. Outside, more lives were taken over the years at a pond and also at an old tree at just the right height for a rope, which was later struck by lightning. Nowadays, the heavily haunted Hinsdale house has become a location for ghost hunters like John and Amanda of Elevated Vlogs to explore whatever secrets lie within. John and Amanda are amateur ghost hunters without much paranormal experience, so their reactions are about as raw as it gets. Their night begins with a tour from the house's current owner, a man named Daniel Clays, who spared this house from getting demolished in 2015. He seems to have formed a truce with the spirits in return for saving them. The way he talks about his experiences, the more activity their camera catches around him.
There's definitely something that's sinister, maybe darker, that comes out once in a while. But your best thing is to just ignore it and move on and go do something else. We were just standing in the kitchen and we had a camera on ourselves and they were talking about the exorcism this, exorcism that. And
Daniel leaves them to explore the house on their own.
And just kind of do a little explore before we sit down anywhere. And
Did you hear that?
They also hear this noise, the sound someone makes with a hand over their mouth.
but he said he has experienced somewhat of a something dark here. Experience.
They enter the room of Mary Dandy, the youngest daughter of a family who lived here during the 1970s, and find bugs on their backs, legs up, an odd characteristic that the room has become known for. An entity has attached itself here, something foul enough to attract flies and send them lifelessly to the floor without its presence. Or maybe these flies were placed here by Daniel to fool John and Amanda. Either way, the activity only seems to increase ever since standing in Mary's room. I think something runs ahead of them down the stairs into the basement. Maybe the final steps of someone trying to get away during a terrible event.
Most people that check this place out will come with a team.
Oh yeah, I'll go down first so you can show them this really cool... Did you hear that?
What was that?
And when they try to communicate with it, a scared little girl's voice comes across the airwaves.
Are you okay with us staying here tonight?
They decide to head back into Mary's room. Again, their spirit box picks up the same crying girl as before.
Are you okay with us being in this room? Can we sit here?
And this is the third time they pick up her voice. Definitely the same girl the whole time.
Are we safe?
She's following them from room to room, and maybe behind her is the sinister force that Daniel warned them to stay away from. They decided to check out the attic before they get too scared. Remember what I said about the attic earlier? Sure enough, John feels a strong hand wrap his arm to pull him forward, followed by a supernatural confirmation from a gruff male voice.
Dude, I'm not even playing, man.
Did someone touch John's arm?
Like, no lie, it felt like there was just something
Dude, that sounded like, yeah.
They flee downstairs to regroup and find they can no longer leave. Something's outside.
John.
Oh my
I
god.
literally heard something outside. I'm not even messing around.
Dude.
Did you hear that, dude?
No, I know. It sounded like metal tinging.
I don't hear it, but I do see it. Look again, it's a ghost caught on live stream. And even though I didn't hear it earlier, I do hear chains rattling during this part when they get closer to the door.
What's that noise?
There's nothing left to do but wait it out in the Hinsdale house. After a night of fitful sleep, they decide to explore the hillside before getting out of there fast. They're still afraid from yesterday's events, but it's their job as paranormal investigators to keep going no matter what. So with their spirit box out, they wander into the woods. Within minutes, they record a voice. I hear 3 words: I need help. Then they hear a familiar voice, the same one responsible for grabbing John's arm in the attic.
We're coming into the darker part of the woods here. Would somebody like to speak with us? Oh. Yep, that was definitely a male voice.
And this part is either Amanda's voice edited in, or else somebody is humming a creepy tune right next to John. The forest is dark and cold. I agree with John that this is a different language.
We're in the middle of the woods. There's no electrical.
They come to a part of the woods that's particularly eerie for no reason at all. It's just a feeling they both have. That's when they realize the reason for their fears could not be directly underfoot.
Did you die here?
The thought of communicating with the other side has always made me uneasy, but speaking with someone while standing on their unmarked grave, as elevated vlogs seem to have done, takes that uneasiness to a whole other level. What goes up must come down. Posted by V. Fieldson on TikTok, as Fieldson walks beside a house, capturing a bicycle lying in the middle of the sidewalk. He pulls the shot upright, catching the roof of the house in frame. Someone is up there watching him. The watcher appears to be filming him too. At least he seems to be holding something with a light on. He rushes from view, and darkness envelopes him. Of course, this is TikTok, so that's where the clip ends. However, as we know, what goes up must come down. After all, he's gotta come down from that rooftop eventually. Let's head to a natural pool in Hawaii, officially called the Queen's Bath and unofficially called the Pool of Death. This natural pool is deceiving. The pool is ringed with rocks on 3 sides and water on the 4th. 1 minute it appears to be a calm, peaceful swimming hole where amateur swimmers can enjoy a harmless swim. The next, you realize the Queen's Bath is actually a tidal sinkhole in which terrifyingly violent waves churn sporadically to pull swimmers under. In this clip, 3 daredevils decide to tempt their fates in the Pool of Death, with 2 of them jumping in a flip dive off the rock into the relatively calm waters. Once the swimmers are out of Death's grasp, gathering their bearings, they learn the pool is not finished with them. The swelling water soon steals them into its depths again, and their friend launches in after them. The foaming sea thrashes inside the pool, while the men try to stay above board so that they don't drown. As they struggle to do so, they attempt to keep closer to each other, but the deadly pool is not having it. It tosses them around like they're 3 pieces of clothing in a washing machine.
You gotta be kidding me.
Just when you think that they may be goners, the water levels calm again, and the daredevils no longer wish to test their fates as they climb out of the Pool of Death as fast as they can, although they escaped the deadly grip this time. If they chose to swim in Queen's Bath again, they may not be so lucky. Will you expect to find some creepy stuff in an abandoned funeral home? Abandoned remains are probably not among the usual suspects. Published to YouTube by RNK All Day in March of 2020, the channel writes, "We found ashes inside an abandoned funeral home that was condemned due to the funeral director leaving and hiding bodies. It was located in North Carolina. It was closed down in 2012 after client complaints. The funeral home's former owner was put behind bars for not burying the individuals." RNK All Day explores this home and its unnerving history. Amongst the creepy things found inside are Polaroids of the passed on individuals and a squatter's bed made up inside the building. But of course, the most unsettling thing they encountered was a bag of ashes in a torn cardboard box. According to a timestamp on the box, they were from 1995, meaning they've remained there for over 2 decades. Let's hope they finally received a proper burial. The Mikey Mike channel encounters a bizarre sighting in the clear blue sky that leaves him freaked out. The creepy moments were also caught on dash cam, so we can have a look too.
The word, in case you missed it, I'll give it to you again right now. It's easy. E-A-S-Y. Now what you want to do is take that code word easy and text that.
What the hell? Where the f*** that just come from?
A bolt of lightning touches down on a sunny day, no rain, hardly any clouds in the sky, and the few hanging around have not even a touch of gray.
There's no clouds here. Look, no clouds. Like it just came from space.
Mikey can't shake the feeling that he's seen something he was never meant to see. This video got me curious, and I was able to find a second one like it, half as long and twice as weird.
Oh, I hope I got that time. I don't know if I did or not. It's in the corner over here.
At 1 second, a flash of lightning touches down without intersecting with a cloud at all. It seems to just literally come out of the blue. I looked up what this was and came across a term called dry lightning that I have heard before but never really studied in depth. This is a name for what happens when precipitation evaporates really fast. It's technically raining, but we just don't notice because rain doesn't reach the ground, but lightning does. These two videos basically mean you can get struck down by a random bolt at any time, even on a nice day. There really is no safe time to stand under trees or by anything metal when you consider that this is apparently a common phenomenon. You might have almost gotten struck by lightning plenty of times without even noticing it because it's silent and you probably weren't looking up. Freaky, right? Narrator subreddit. This redditor writes, I've been getting haunted for a while now, and now it's messing with childhood pictures of me. In the clip, the kid says his door won't stop opening, and in that moment it's flung open. Shortly after, a series of pictures falls slightly from the wall and starts to swing. Is this a demon, as the redditor suggests? Another redditor in the comments thinks it may be a ghost or a spirit, but likely not a demon. He offers advice writing, ask it how you can help. Maybe research your house to see what may have happened there. Other redditors like iPro the Floor thinks this video looks legit. I'm genuinely scared for you, he writes. I think we all are. A Saudi Arabian ghost hunter known as Explorer Abdullah Al-Anzi goes investigating a haunted mansion that has been abandoned for a long time. Strange paranormal activity begins in the courtyard. Decades of decay have worn this place into little more than roomfuls of rubble that he is determined to explore. As he is wondering how many floors this building has, he realizes he is far from alone. He's exploring the basement when he hears something in a commanding voice. If you know what was said, then fill us in too.
Huh?
He isn't sure where it's coming from, so he looks all around. Right before Abdullah turns around, something strange is caught on camera looking at him at 16 minutes and 23 seconds. A spirit or a creature with a single glowing eye. The voice is never heard again, so he thinks it's a jinn. Based on the paranormal evidence he's caught on camera, I think he's probably correct. Isaiah Harris published his sewer exploration in March of 2018, describing it as the utter most scariest video that I've ever recorded yet. He went on to say, I think it was mostly because of the position I was in, and how much ghostly things I heard and seen. The first clip shows Harris along with two young accomplices exploring the underground sewer during the daytime. They make their way along a tunnel to an area with pooled water, which has frozen over with ice. In a second video of the sewer exploration, Harris, joined this time by his brother and sister-in-law, shows how they entered the sewer by lifting up a big iron storm grate and crawling under. The tunnel is filled with graffiti, and they jump down from this initial tunnel to a broader area. A ladder is also positioned there, suggesting that this area is a regular stomping ground for exploration. They continue on, and Harris explains to his crew that there will soon be a ditch with shin-deep water, and there may be a den beyond, as he found evidence of people living there once before. The ditch area is filled with ice and a layer of snow over top. Harris jumps down, breaking through the ice. The other two decide to turn back because they think they've heard something in the tunnel. But that's when Harris looks deep into the tunnel beyond and decides that he too wants to hightail it out of there, after he claims to have seen something down there. They start to make their way back, but pause when they hear a growling sound. Harris also notes that there's a handprint on the wall. As they arrive at the exit ladder, they also hear tapping sounds coming from within the tunnel. They manage to make it out of the tunnel without incident, but one does wonder whether the creature within was human or monster. If you thought gargoyles were only a thing of Gothic cathedrals, like Notre Dame, think again. Published by Mr. Illusion in March of 2022, this scary video purports to capture a real-life flying gargoyle. I couldn't find the origins of this mysterious video, but the footage shows chaos ensuing amongst a group of people as a monstrous creature appears in the sky overhead. The flying creature is enormous, with large, bat-like wings, a long tail, and what looks like a human head. As it flaps its wings, traveling across the sky, the people below panic. It is captured briefly one more time flying away. Is this CGI, a real-life gargoyle, or some other demon in flight? Whatever it is, I wish it would turn back to stone. A dad and a daughter are all smiles as they board an elevator. The ride is smooth and they look at themselves in the mirror for about 30 seconds, completely unaware of how unsafe they actually are. Minutes later, the empty elevator is ripping past floors with enough speed to shake the entire carriage. The door is slightly open and nothing is working properly as the lift slams into the roof hard enough to dislodge panels and light fixtures. Thankfully, no passengers were on board, but had the two from earlier still been inside, it would have been a daddy-daughter demise for certain. I can only wonder how many times something like this has almost happened to you or me without realizing. A YouTuber named Waffle Vlogs records a strange man standing outside his apartment home. According to Waffle Vlogs, this uninvited guest stood at his front door and then started walking the parking lot for a long time.
What's he doing out there?
He stares out at nothing for a while and eventually walks back to his car, which is a relief, but still doesn't explain what he was doing there to begin with. Waffle Vlogs seems just as confused as we are about what just happened to him. He thinks that he might have been getting his house cased out. I have no reason not to believe him. Do you? This video was taken somewhere in South America, and it shows a man sitting on a table at a security monitoring station. Little does he know that he too is apparently being monitored, and not by a camera. After a while, this is what happens to him. Even the people reviewing the footage can't believe what they are seeing. Not only does a nearby chair move on its own, but it also moves in his general direction. It's almost as if the ghost is pulling up a seat directly across from him. Unbelievably, the man doesn't seem to notice this paranormal activity unfolding before him. At least at first. He is looking at his cell phone when suddenly it happens again. This time he sees it, and his reaction seems very legitimate as he becomes startled and tense. He looks behind him to make sure that the security camera is recording all of this for later evidence. Then he hops off the table and stares at the chair before him. Obviously scared now. He waits for it to move again, but it doesn't, so he goes over to inspect it more closely. This is probably the most convincing part of the video, because he would have seen a fishing line if it was a fake prank. Instead, he picks the chair up, puts it back in its place, and then puts a stand in front of it and gets out of there fast. I'm not saying that this video is absolutely 100% real, but it is certainly a possibility. Thank you so much for getting me to 30,000 subscribers here on my Clips channel. If you want to support, please press that subscribe button. Let's get to 40,000 subscribers next. Thank you.